Welcome to the Soul Circle Podcast. My name is Hank. With me, as always, is Ben.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about Digimon Adventure 02, which is the sequel series to Digimon Adventure, but the 02 does not indicate that it's a sequel. It indicates that it takes place in the near future of 2002, which was the future at the time it came out. Though I think in America it's like not even 2002. It's like 2004 or something because they needed to be based on the air dates. They needed to keep the ages of the kids consistent. Mm-hmm. Had to make it different. So that's probably why it goes over people's heads. Also, it's just called Digimon in America. They didn't ever bother with the adventure part when they brought that over.
We're not even 2 minutes in. I'm just going to start out real strong by saying, based on season 2, I don't know, or series 2, if you're going to be that way. I don't know how there was a third one. I don't know how they finished up part 2, and then someone was like, yeah, we need a part 3. This needs to be continued.
It's because the ratings went up.
How?
So, because say what you will about season 2, there's just enough if you were really invested in the first series that you would keep watching just on like nostalgia for a previous series. Like I did. I just kept watching it even though this is bad, but it's like just entertaining enough. Mm-hmm. Like not like it's good entertaining, it's like bad, but also kind of entertaining sometimes. And then it brought in new younger viewers also.
I guess. Kids are dumb. They have no taste. No offense.
I mean, didn't you say this is the one you watched first?
This is the one I watched first, but like going through it, I think I watched either I forgot a large portion of it or I watched a lot less of it than I originally thought.
Gotcha.
There's like
that's fair.
A handful of things that I remember. Like Giga House, whatever. The spore thing, like in the back of kids' necks. I remember Black Greymon.
Black War Greymon?
Yeah, sure. Black Ultimate Steel War Metal Gray Mon.
Stephen J. Bloom Mon.
Doesn't he do? Yeah, he does like the fucking giant orb of darkness thing. Yeah.
Terra Destroyer, I think is when he says it.
I should know because they announce their attacks loudly every time they do them.
Every
single time.
They got to reuse that animation.
This was
very low budget.
It was certainly an experience. I think it might be. I think it's the first show that I've like, without sitting through it for a second time, I'm just like 2 episodes deep, and I'm like, yeah, we're just gonna turn this on in the background while I do things that I actually like. Just like in a little bit of it, totally fine. Like there's isolated sections that are okay-ish in chunks of like 10 seconds, and they need to be that small because every goddamn minute there is like 200 jokes. Like the joke density in this show might be the highest I've ever seen. And I don't know if
entirely the dub.
Yeah, I mean I figured
it's working overdrive.
There's so, and I also probably worth noting at this point, I have zero experience with like bad dubs. I know they're out there. I've heard like some clips, right? You know, the really bad ones get thrown on YouTube or whatever. Mm-hmm. This was fucking bad. Like so many times where I'm like, this can't possibly be anywhere. They're not translating here. They're just shoving it in. Like,
yeah, no, they wrote scripts.
But if we take it like in the canon of the show, all of those kids have problems. It's the most disjointed conversation. Someone says something, and everybody just ignores it and makes a fucking pun.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, that's
it's just so it's so
it's very true. Yeah, they would add, but the other thing is they didn't just add in jokes; they would add in dramatic dialogue too. In dramatic,
yeah.
like they're just adding dialogue always. They didn't let a moment of silence.
No, they didn't
exist.
There were so many instances. The most memorable one for me, that it was like the first time I noticed it really badly, was in the Giga House arc, and they're like flying around, and they had the characters like talking, but like they were right up in the mic, and it was just like you could have just had like a sequence here. You didn't have to have them talking over it, but you did for like nonstop.
I don't know what you mean by Giga House.
That's what they called it. The big house. The fucking giant house.
Giant house.
There was a giant house. Did you not watch through the series in prep for this?
Isn't that just one episode? No.
Is it just one episode? I thought it was, well, like the arc, it was like a couple episodes, I think, where they were in it.
I think they're only in that house for one episode.
Okay, well, in my defense,
that's not an arc.
I was watching like an eighth of what was actually happening on screen.
I remember that episode. Yes, that is
okay,
an episode that happens. But
they're all really arcs in their own little way.
The other thing is this, compared to the first season. The first season was very much like 13 episode arc. Story stuff happens by the end of 13 episodes or earlier, and then we bleed that over into the next arc for just the second and third ones, because the third one is like the big arc where they go to the real world. But by like season 13, episode 13 of Adventure 2, that's just the one where Kari goes to the creepy dark ocean.
Right.
And like they just like the plot just like meanders more. Also, they reset like 3 times to just doing the same formula over again with the knocking down spires.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we're knocking down spires and becoming in digi-armoring. Okay, we finished that part. Now let's do the same thing, but we're becoming champions. Now let's do the same thing, but we're in the real world. Like, they just do that over and over again. There's no escalation pretty, of conflict. Also, there are like no stakes in this season, because at the end of every episode, the kids just go home and get to take a bath and eat food.
Yeah, they're not trapped.
There's like no no danger.
That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, in the first one, weren't they like stuck? They actually had to like figure stuff out. Then
they were stuck, and then when they were in the real world,
nothing.
Digimon were also in the real world, which is a whole different kind of problem, and like different kind of stakes. So that there was still heightened.
Yeah,
there was no like safe time where you're just like, yeah, everything's fine. Nope, don't worry about it. Go to a soccer game.
So I don't know, I guess, like, I don't want to say, like, complaint, because, like, the whole thing is a complaint, but, like, the, Ken's redemption arc, that's it's, like, it's fucking bad. It's, like, it's pretty terrible, and I'm just watching it, I'm like, I know it came after, but it's, like, a terrible version of Zuko's redemption arc in Avatar. Like, it's hitting some of those same notes. Like, he's sleeping and he's like working shit out internally and all this other stuff, but it's all just terrible.
So, I mean, that episode where he's sleeping, that's like one of the worst for the dub. Like, the dub really fucks up that episode.
That doesn't
that episode
surprise me.
Really only works in
what's
Japanese.
What's the context in the original? Do you happen to know
it's just,
what's
like,
different?
It's just the acting is much better, and
Okay.
like there's like the way the music is worked in, and the way the dialogue is paced and stuff. It's just
Not trash.
not trash.
Why do my parents miss me? They love me. My brother, I wanted to be just like my brother. My brother was a dick.
I mean, yeah, like those ideas are still there.
Yeah, it's just there's the dialogue. He blew bubbles though. He was a good bubble blower.
He did blow bubbles.
He blew a good bubble.
Well, so the other thing to know about Zero Two, and why one of the reasons it's worse than most things.
Yep.
It had way too many writers. Like, it had 2 heads of story who had like 7 scenario designers below them who had their own script writers. So basically, every episode pretty probably was, for the most part, like written individually by someone else, not in to be in a particular order. So it's just like a mess. So there's no arc because there was no one sitting at the head of the table deciding what was going to happen, like what was important in the long run. It was just moment to moment. So instead of having character arcs and cheap animation like the original series, it's just cheap animation and lots of fights.
Yeah.
Like, the biggest thing about Zero Two is the characters don't have arcs. None of their heroes change at all. And it's really hilarious with Davis at the end, to me, honestly, of how Davis has the way they beat the enemy at the end is Davis just has no problems.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like a temptation, last temptation thing they do, where everyone gets their biggest dream. But Davis's biggest dream is just to beat the enemy, so he gets stronger. It's really he has no problems. He has nothing to worry about. He's had a great life. He's
Also,
insufferable. I kind of love him.
We have both complained to varying degrees about Harry Potter's epilogue.
Oh, the epilogue to Zero Two is the worst thing. It's worse than the Harry Potter epilogue.
Way worse. It's so, like, I didn't expect it at all. Like, how are they gonna fucking? They're doing Digimon Try.
Digimon Try it acts as if that epilogue doesn't exist.
Well, maybe
for good reason.
Yeah. No,
I don't think Digimon Try is that great either. I haven't watched all of it.
I don't have a lot of
But yeah, that epilogue is like my favorite weird one is, and Matt became an astronaut. Like, dude is in a successful rock band, and that's his life.
Yeah.
Like, not fucking. And Gabumon becomes an astronaut too. It's also
naturally
good detail.
Yeah, and they go to Mars, even though they're only supposed to go to the moon. We'll ignore the fact that the ship was only probably fueled for a trip to the moon, but
probably a dub joke, I'm gonna assume.
Yeah.
But definitely the space thing is there.
Just all of it was. Ugh. And all their kids just look fucking exactly like them.
Yes. All their kids look exactly like them.
Ken and Yoli
can get married.
They bang.
They have like
3
how
kids.
many lines of dialogue had they shared throughout the season?
Oh, like what? You're saying like you didn't pick that out immediately? Obvious ship. TK and Kari?
I mean, by Yoli, yes.
TK and Kari?
See,
the
TK and Kari thing, what's hilarious is, so there's like dialogue where they say they like each other in the Dark Ocean arc, in the Dark Ocean episode.
Yep.
That's added by the dub. That's not in there in the original.
Yeah, that's...
The dub shipped TK and Kari. Which is hilarious to me. That's not even there. Like, again, the dub tries to explain things. It tries to make jokes all the time. They knew they weren't working with good material. And I would say that the show itself clearly gives up about halfway through. Like, once Ken, as the Digimon Emperor, is defeated, like, the writers are just, like, tapped out. They don't care anymore.
No, it definitely got real.
The World Tour arc is, like, in the real world is, like, the nadir of the series, because it's, like, the final thing, and it's still just, like, no stakes.
Yeah.
Just like no character development at all. Man. But there's some good lines in there over the course of the series. It's really my thing. There are lines to this that I will always remember throughout the course of the season. But it's definitely a thing of, I only like this thing at all because of how much I like the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Like, without that, it's real bad.
Oh, no. In a Void, this is like, I don't know, F tier television, if that.
No, there's way worse stuff. You just haven't seen enough terrible stuff to say it's F tier. It's very bad, but as a hardcore Digimon fan, it's very mediocre but entertainingly bad.
I guess.
That's the high end.
I mean,
where it
Patamon's
taps
still
Yeah.
cool.
Patamon's still cool.
They got that going for them.
There's a Japanese, they put out a Christmas album. This in Japanese.
Oh.
Dice Ken and Davis is Davis's name in Japanese is Daisuke, and they have a song, and it's really good. Honestly. They go baby Christmas Daze. It's really good. Music drops out. They say baby in English. Look, Davis's dream, I will say, is also good.
World.
His one dream in the world is to open a noodle cart. It's a good dream. It's endearing.
I mean, yeah, and he gets on the cover of Time magazine for it. So, like, apparently the noodles were decent.
Yeah.
Agumon wore a tie. That was the thing.
Agumon wore a tie. Became a diplomat.
Yeah. Fucking. I'm just honestly, I'd still like. It's TK writing, like, you know, doing the narration or whatever, and his son rolls in, and it's just TK.
Yeah.
Like, you guys couldn't just fucking make him look a tiny bit different. Like, at least Ken and Yoli had the kid with, like, it's a girl, but it has dark hair.
Yeah, they swapped hair.
Yeah, like, at least that was a thing. But no, everybody just had miniature versions of themselves.
Their kids can't inherit any traits from their parents who weren't the characters in the show. That's not how that works.
And then they all have... Did they all have the same Digimon? That's what
Yes.
it looked like. Okay.
They are all clones.
Yep.
Luckily, they never made a show about those kids.
Oh my god.
Those kids never come back. No other media about them, I don't think. I really like the egg episode with Digitamamon, where there's just constant egg puns. Just
Yeah.
everywhere. The whole time. Because otherwise those episodes would be super boring. You just need something.
I mean... Did the something have to be, like, 1,001 egg jokes?
Yes.
Ugh.
That's what it had to be.
It couldn't be, like, plot or depth.
Well, I'm talking from, like, the dubbing
Yeah, I know.
company's perspective of, we're stuck with this. That's how I look at it.
If they're gonna rewrite it, they
don't-
could have at least done a good job.
No, it's just jokes, man. It's the Samurai Pizza Cat's way. Just add in dumb jokes everywhere. It was an era. It was a time.
Also, there was... I can't remember what episode it was. There was one, like, we talked about, like, just not in podcast, obviously, just about how, is it an important story? Better rush through these animations for Digivolving. Is it a filler episode? Take 5 fucking minutes to go through every single Digimon Digivolving.
Yes.
And the full quotes and the whole shebang.
Yes.
And there was one episode where literally everybody did it, and I was like, yeah, really, Really milk those. Oh,
I mean, that was between like, I mean, on the channel that it aired in the U.S., Fox Kids. That Digimon and Power Rangers were like the most popular thing, and both those shows are super guilty of just doing those transformations. That's kids like that stuff. It's not unliked. It's popular.
yeah.
I
No,
will say.
that makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
I guess, yeah. It's like even remembering back to it, like,
yeah,
I think you just like blur those over in your mind. At least for me,
yeah.
like having never gone
fair
back,
enough.
like
Uh-huh.
it feels like there's less
Yeah.
because you
you're
didn't
not.
care.
Yeah, because you don't remember.
Like, man, this is cool. They're doing the thing.
You don't remember this episode is really like 10 to 15 minutes of content.
Yeah.
And like half recycled animation.
And then just the attacks, like I don't even know like if there is a proper comparison. I guess even like I haven't seen much of the Yu-Gi-Oh animation, and I haven't seen much of the Pokemon animation, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they are better because there's probably more variety instead of fucking Rosetta Stone.
No, Pokemon does that same shit.
Yeah, but
Particularly in the later seasons, it does the same. It doesn't. I mean, obviously, their Pokemon are saying their name, not the name of their attack.
Yeah,
But it uses the same attack animation over and over again.
Yeah,
of
but
just the
aren't there-
Pokemon on screen and not the enemy.
aren't there like different attacks though? At least, or do they stick to like the fucking like?
I mean, they have
Thunderbolt
their
or something.
They have their go-tos. They have
Yeah.
4 attacks each theoretically, but
Well, yeah. Okay. But this is just like, at least at first. I after a while they got some other stuff going on, but just the same exact. You guys only got one move.
Yeah. I mean, that's
use it every damn time.
yes. Yeah. I mean, it's a dirt cheap. That's just money saving. But that's also a factor of the arcs like the arcs kind of overstaying their welcome and being too many episodes each. And yeah, that's part of it. Because the other thing that the original series does to mitigate that is like in the arc where they're all getting to ultimate, which is like they're doing the thing this for the second time of characters having their moment where their Digimon gets stronger. They break that up better over the course of like 2 arcs. Not everyone gets their it's not like beat by beat everyone gets their thing in a row mechanically.
Yeah.
Also, when it happens in an original adventure, there's like an emotional and character reason that stuff's happening, whereas in Adventure 02 they're like pressing a button.
Yeah.
Like
Whoa,
the way
fuck,
there's
we should
no
probably get another old one.
there's no character like the character moments that are there when that stuff happens are incredibly forced. Like the episode where Davis is afraid he's not able to make friends, which is like, no, Davis makes friends incredibly easily. He's like instantly friends with people because he has no problems. Why would this be a thing?
And doesn't he like? He already has those friends.
Yes.
Like they're already.
And then when he changes his mind, he's like, "Oh no, I was making it all about me. I should think about the team." It's like, that was not what you were saying. That was not the issue at hand. But okay, I guess you're fine now because the episode's about to end.
Got to wrap this up. If you could find an excuse to get us out of here, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
I'll also say Cody is my least favorite character.
Yeah, he's pretty garbage. I mean,
He's
first
pretty
off,
bad. He has an episode about how he's like he has to lie to save people's lives, and he's all fucking torn up about it.
Fucking white lies or whatever.
But then it's like an episode that's about like the lesson of the episode is on white lies are good. They can save people's lives. Like, this is a weird lesson for a kid's show. Also,
Yeah.
it's like a garbage character arc, and it's a weird lesson.
I mean, first off, okay, Cody's rocking the fucking coconut hair, so that's annoying. He's short as hell. Why is he that short?
He's younger than all of them.
What? Him and Yoli are in the same class, aren't they? They definitely were both late for class or something. They were running to the same area.
I don't think they're in the same class. I think Cody's younger.
I feel like the dub disagrees with you.
I mean, maybe.
You know what? Maybe it depends on the episode, because I could totally see them just not caring at all. I swore in the very, very like first episodes that he was younger, but then I vividly recall him and Yoli being late for class like together. It was implied like a class that they shared. So
I think Gilly's like tutoring him or something.
In a class that she could be late for?
I don't remember.
Anyway,
I'm looking
his
up their
grandpa
ages.
seems cool though. Like, definitely was probably drinking in the original, but then in the
Oh yeah, Cody is like years younger.
well, that was conveyed very poorly.
He is 12. What?
Aren't they all fucking 12?
I don't know. Third, fourth. Apparently, but they're in different grades. I don't understand. Really isn't a
So
higher grade.
he got held back.
I don't
You're
understand
saying
this.
he got fucking held
This
back.
wiki, I don't trust this wiki anymore. But also they're in different grades in Japanese and the dub. The dub moved everyone up a grade.
Yeah. Didn't they do that in the third series, and then it turned what's her name's mom into like a teen pregnancy? Like they changed I think
that sounds possible.
I think that was like they changed her age to like a couple years older or something, but they didn't update the mom's age. So if you do the math, her mom had her when she was like 15. Like,
Oh yeah. Yes. They upped Rika's age by 3 years in the.
yeah.
They made her like 3 years older without changing her mom's age, and her mom was already a young mom.
Yeah. So fucking whoops.
Good job, dubbers.
Yeah. I mean, if it were like rural Wisconsin, nobody fucking bats an eye anymore. But look,
There are weird things with the names too.
I just remember being
Season 3.
I forget what main character was. Rika, there was Henry. There was main character who also had like the same setup as Tyan Davis, but I remember disliking his outfit. Like even as a kid, his outfit mildly annoyed me.
Why?
I don't know, someone with his pants. I don't like how they fit. They look fucking weird.
Whose pants? Davis's?
No, who's the main kid in 3? Who's
Oh.
who's season 3
Staccato?
Davis? Yeah, sure. He has weird pants.
Does he? He's like jorts. Or whatever.
Well, am I totally misremembering? Am I totally misremembering?
He's like
it?
gray pants that they just go below his knees. He's wearing like shorts. Long shorts.
Digimon 3. How do you fucking spell
Maybe
his
you're thinking
name?
of Takato. Maybe you're thinking about Henry.
Oh, maybe I am. Okay, like no, it's still definitely
Staccato?
yeah. I mean, no one else can see this, but it's definitely him. Just look him up. That picture, that one. They're annoying.
Yeah.
I was right.
He's wearing gray shorts. I don't.
You're calling
know
those
Ben's
shorts, sir?
up-
He's wearing nearly form-fitting capris. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like they look gross.
They're not capris.
I'm not complaining about him
They're like
wearing
sweatpants.
I'm not complaining about him wearing women's clothing. I'm complaining that his fashion sense is garbage. In that picture, like that's the picture I was thinking of almost completely. There's other screenshots here that don't look as bad, but like
Okay.
I don't know.
That's a weird thing to get hung up on.
You know what? Let me be me. You're defending his shitty pants, but I can't have an opinion about him suddenly.
No, I don't have an opinion about his pants, really.
I mean, look, you're telling me his outfit looks okay here? He looks like the fucking villain from Despicable Me. That's his physique.
I don't pay that close attention to that stuff, honestly, dude.
I mean, I
Just don't
didn't try
care.
to pay attention to it. It called to me.
Okay. This guy gray pants. Whatever. Now Yolee's pants, her Digimon in her digital world outfit, where they like puff out around her thighs.
I mean, puff out this guy. It's a pilot aesthetic. She also had a flight helmet. Don't know if you noticed.
That's true. I don't
It
know
was
why.
fine. I was fine. No, like absolutely. Like, oh, her Digimon was like a bird, a big old bird. She flew.
It's true. He was a Native American bird who in the dub speaks with a British accent. Weird choice.
I mean,
Odd choice.
Better than a what is it? Is it literally just Wormmon?
Yeah, Wormmon.
Oh,
Just cans.
bastard! I wish you would go back to your normal self. Like, all right.
Yeah.
And then, like, all the other Digimon kind of make sense. Like, Davis!
Yes.
Just ridiculousness.
I mean, Vmon is the same voice actor as Ken, also.
In the dub? Or in
In the dub.
Oh, man. That's fucking amazing. That's a worldview. That just shatters everything.
Also, he was Devimon in Regular Adventure.
I'm sorry, Devimon?
Devimon.
Okay. Initially, I was like, Demimon. Like, that's
No.
real ladies.
Devi. Like devil, but they took off
Oh, whoa. Whoa. Also, I'm like, which guy am I think? Oh, Ken, when he is still bad guy, his like bastard Digimon fusion thing that like goes off the rails and tries to destroy even him.
the Chimeramon, because
Yeah.
it is a chimera.
Okay.
It has Metal Greymon's hair, though. It's the
Yeah,
most
that
important
was.
part.
Yeah, they fucking specify. And Metal Greymon's hair. I mean, yeah, like why not?
That was the most
Style
important part of
points.
Metal Greymon.
Yeah,
most
his
important part of
flowing
The
locks.
luscious locks.
Yeah. And it really bugs me how like, you know, they do the DNA Digivolve thing, and I don't know. I'm having the last like 20 episodes are just a fucking blur. But for
That's
the most
before
part,
the last 20, but okay.
yeah, that I know. But like after that point, like for other
Gotcha.
instances, there was a lot of circumstances where it's like, okay, we're gonna fight this Digimon, and the evil Digimon is like 200 times their size, but they're more powerful, and I'm like, that's fine, like whatever, but you know, I want things to get bigger. I want, like, you're doing your champion form, that's fine. Like Vmon's champion form, or his armor, his initial armor form is like what, a bit taller than Davis, a bit bigger, but not like giant.
Yeah.
And his champion form is like pretty fucking big. Like, you know, Davis is just rolling up on his shoulder or whatever. Like, I want your ultimate form to be a fucking Leviathan. Like, I want to see some big ass I want to see kaiju fights. That's what I want. And instead we get like tiny sword and armor guy against something the size of a building, and then tiny guy wins, and I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but I'm guessing that they didn't have the budget to draw bigger Digimon. Can't have too many of them, so we're reserving them for the baddies.
I mean, technically, I think Digimon gets bigger through every evolution. Just with Paildramon, he doesn't really change size.
Okay,
And then
but
this
like
mega
they
form is
but
bigger.
they could be bigger though.
yes, but I don't know. The big ones haven't been the. That's not how size works in Digimon generally.
Big ones are bad.
No, big ones are. There are bigger ones that are stronger, but there's a lot of times when then. You get more efficient. Like the way you go from Greymon to Metal Greymon to War Greymon. War Greymon's the best, but he's less big than Metal Greymon.
I like my Digimon
more
swole. I don't like sleek. I like swole. I want.
Right.
I can't. I don't want War Greymon. I want Jim Greymon. GYM, not JIM.
The problem is, like, they just reach it's a point of diminishing returns with the size.
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm probably more excited when you described the one of the part of Tamers, like the third series, as being like Lovecraftian-esque. I'm probably way too excited and probably completely misimagining things when I'm imagining what's gonna go down. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. You're probably thinking about it a little too hard, but
I'm not thinking
but
about
that
it
one
too
does
hard.
at least.
Thinking about it too hard. I just want Digimon the size of a mountain. Like, kids like it when the little Digimon turn into the bigger Digimon. I just want to see them keep getting bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I'll also say in Adventure 02, like, the size so rarely matters because they're in this. It's not like a thing really in terms of like how the story works. Whereas in Tamers, it does, like right from the bat. Like one of their first problems with becoming champion is, oh no, now Growlmon is big. What do we do with him?
Yeah.
That's a thing. Whereas there's no problems. There's no like everyday regular old problems except for lying is bad and his lying
Only
is the worst
sometimes.
thing.
Oh,
But then you just have to learn the lesson that lying isn't always bad.
I was going to say
despite what your
earlier,
grandfather said.
Cody's grandfather was totally trying to hook him up with alcohol, right? Like that wasn't squeezable yogurt.
No, that's definitely not that. I don't know.
The dub told me it was squeezable yogurt, but based on the coloration
Yeah.
of his face, I'm like, this is 100% Cody's drunken grandpa right now.
Yeah, the Digimon Adventure has a scene like that with soda, where it's clearly not soda.
Yeah. Well, I said, what was it? There was some great drunk food scenes too. Cheese crackers, donuts, whatever. They're eating like a sushi roll and like very clearly like not these things. It's like fucking Pokemon with their donuts.
Yes, it's classic 90s dubbing.
Yep. Also, I can't think of any. You know what? I was gonna say I can't think of any of their names past like the first forms of Digimon, but I only probably know like 10% of those anyway.
Yeah.
So, Cody's fella, little armadillo dude, Armadillomon. Ah.
It's not that hard.
I
sometimes.
didn't even know it. I just fucking like he looks like an armadillo. We're just gonna call him Armadillomon. Okay, well,
Yes, accurate.
great. Yeah. All right. Well, when he turns into Swordfish Submarine Mon.
Submarimon, I think.
Okay, like close enough. I'll count it. Is that the only
I like how they're
instance of like
joysticks.
Yeah, is that the only instance of like he turns into a vehicle? Like
well,
Cody
no, 'cause,
physically gets into him and like drives him around.
Like
Or
Imperial
something.
Dramon has his form where he has like that back area where they all stand to travel around.
Right. But like he's a vehicle.
There are trained Digimon in season 4. Is a big thing.
I don't feel like going into season 4. I think I like I 3. I remember liking it a lot.
3 is easily the best. Just it's
Yeah.
simply it's the one that had like a creative head who had an idea of what he wanted to do and just got the the head of story role because he wanted it, and he had like an idea for what he wanted the story he wanted to tell.
Yeah. I remember when I was little, I was like, I think I must have been like watching it from the beginning, and I don't think I stuck with it terribly long. Because I recall like, the beginning, how their Digimon kind of come about a little bit like vaguely. I remember like all the sheets scanning through the Digivice, like, well, what's his name sleeps, and like it's revealed that the original series was a TV show. I didn't like that. Like, I didn't like that gimmick because, like, as a kid, I was like, oh, I don't want these to be, like, fake things. I want them to, like, have happened. That's a lame cop-out. Now I'm like, it's so good that they're only a TV show. Like, it's so good that these aren't technically, like, these aren't really canon in Series 3 because...
Well, okay, so there's a weird thing where the scene where Ken gets the Darkspore as a little kid, where the Darkspore first implants into him in, like, that desert, there's, like, only a little shot. But there's another person with him, and that's Ryu, because those events happen in a WonderSwan Digimon video game that was all about Ryu, and Ken is a side character at some point in that.
Okay.
And then Ryu is a character in Tamers also.
Great.
So there's multiverse stuff with Digimon. And I think Series 6 got into that.
Ugh.
But I haven't watched any of Series 6, really.
Well,
I watched a little bit of it. But I know there's a thing where, like, with multiverse in Digimon where, like, they have all, like, the like, leader kids get brought back for some fight or something happens. So there's, like, animation with Takato, Tai, and the other leader Digimon people.
I looked into it a little bit. Like, I
haven't watched that.
I remember seeing a bit of 4, like season 4, and I thought that because that's the one where they like kind of transform into.
They just become. Yeah, they just become Digimon. They don't have partners in that season.
Yeah, and I was like, nope, this is stupid. I'm out. Like, it's just not what I want from my.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like it's very reach ready. It's just like, oh, let's just the Digimon formula is established. Let's just do it with It's like totally fine, but it's not anything I remember or feel very attached to.
And then
I feel more attached to season 2 just because of nostalgia.
Yeah, and then season 5, I don't think I've seen. Is season 6 the one where they're
season
like
5?
Atmon? Or is that like?
I think so. Season 5 is the one where the main character has to punch Digimon to get his Agumon to digivolve. So he's just all the time running at Digimon and then punching them, which is hilarious. The show's not great. I didn't finish that one, but that one element of it,
just fucking
choice.
Beating up.
Just has to punch all the Digimon.
Do you want your animal to fight better? Show them how to by punching other animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like past 3. I just have like there will be a future podcast on 3. There will not be a future podcast on 4 or 5 or 6.
That's fair.
Or try. Maybe someday there's like they come up and I'll shit on them again. No, there's like I mean, yeah, because 4 is the one where they implemented trains, right?
Yeah, 4 has a lot of train stuff.
Yeah, well, I feel the same way about that as I did about Spirit Tracks. So if you want to freshen up your franchise, don't do trains.
Well, technically, I think the first train thing is in the second Tamers movie, but the movies were written by someone else, and they're not as good as the main series.
Okay,
so,
I'm probably not going to watch them.
Kind of. I think they could be non-canon.
I also wanted to find a sub of Series 3 because I was just refreshing myself through all the
Yeah.
I didn't go into plot or anything, but just like, oh, like let's see whatever, like reading up a bit, and they did mention that, you know, it gets dark at the end, and in the dub they really fucking toned it down. And I'm like, no, I want dark. Give me the dark. Kill one of the kids. Like, I want to feel. I want it to do things that Digimon 02 didn't do. I want to feel emotions when I watch it.
There's certainly more emotions in Tamers. Yeah, it has, stuff.
I want
happens.
the people to act like humans,
but
not
it's
self-centered assholes.
It's still a kid show, but yeah, it's dark for a kid show.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I want.
The dub for Tamers is miles better. Partially because they realize they're working with better material.
I do recall it not being like, even with Digimon, like the original and like 02, I there was never a point where I didn't recall it being like somewhat joke filled. Maybe
yeah.
I remembered it as being less joke filled, but there's never been an illusion. Like it's yep, there's just a shitload of puns here. Not all of them are good.
Yeah. I mean, the bad ones are kind of the best for me.
Yeah. No, I just like the amount of times.
Again, with season 2, you have to be in for the puns to what, to get stuff out of it. You have to be. I'm
just sitting, I'll be like playing Isaac or something while I'm like watching it in the background and like just to watch it.
Yeah.
And like, I'm trying to think of like a good example. I like kind of semi-serious, like intense-ish dialogue for Digimon 02. Like, I hope we can do this. Like, we're so close, but it's dangerous, and we're like so weak, and blah blah blah. And some other fucker jumps in, like, pun here, pun there. And, like, 2 other people make puns. No one acknowledges what person 1 said. They all just ignore them and make jokes. And
yeah, because they're not real. They're like phantom jokes.
Yeah, like, but they never ever come back to it either. Like, they just make the jokes and then move on. Like,
that's
okay.
Look, I like that style of joke humor. I will say, I'm a fan of it. Just don't even acknowledge it. Just keep going.
I mean, I'm okay with it, but it's like every other line.
It's a lot.
That's why it's like someone.
It's all there is.
Yeah,
for the most. Because there's no character arcs for these people, so.
It works if that's like the punch, right? Like it happens and then you go and then you're doing other stuff. But when it's like line joke, line joke, line joke, and all of them are like in a vacuum by themselves and they don't relate to each other at all. It's like, what are you doing? How are you a team? No one is you guys haven't actually spoken to each other except to make puns.
They don't have like emotions to relate to, so they're just joke machines.
They're all robots.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we go, I just want to go through some of my favorite moments or lines from the series. So they're at the soccer game when Ken and Davis are playing soccer against each other, and Ken shows up like halfway through the game and then just starts scoring goals over and over again.
Yeah.
And Davis like cuts him off and like cuts his leg. Mm-hmm. But then at the end of the game, Ken is like, "Yeah, I didn't see you there. I was too focused on scoring goals."
Yeah.
Did notice. I like that line. That's a choice line. When he is defeated as the Digimon Emperor and is having his flashback about realizing Digimon are like real beings that have feelings. And he's like, "I didn't realize I was causing pain," as a clip of him whipping Digimon is being shown.
Yeah, he's fucking, yeah.
What did you think the whip was doing?
Wormmon is in tears as he's being whipped. And Ken's like, "I didn't realize." And you're like, dude,
I was causing pain. You're like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, no, that whole, like, he's evil, and then he's like, "What?" Like, you're enslaving people, sir.
Yeah. Before that, the one I forgot, him and TK's confrontation, where Ken whips TK in the face and TK no-sells it.
What?
Ken whips TK in the face, and TK just he doesn't react at all.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just like...
Just stone face. Is
Like,
that before TK punches him in the face?
Yes, that is directly
Yeah,
before TK
okay.
then punches. TK says, "You see, that's your problem. You don't know when to fight and when to talk. Now's a good time to talk." And Ken is just freaking the fuck out because he whipped this kid in the face and he didn't react. And then TK like smiles and his eyes, closes his eyes in the smile eyes thing, and then goes, "On the other hand, it's also a good time to fight." And
Yeah,
then it just cuts directly to him punching him. That's real good. That's a good moment.
Yeah, that was a good scene. Just pow.
Yeah. I know a lot of characters slapping other characters to knock them out of things in this season. That's like the only character idea that they understand is like friends hitting each other to knock them out of being dumb. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to express emotions through words. We just use physical violence. My other big one is after War Greymon and Black War Greymon's fight. When Agumon tells Black War Greymon the sage advice of if life gives you lemons, make lemon pie.
Oh my god, yep. Yep.
It's the best. Make lemon pie.
So who's your last thing for me? Who's your favorite character though?
It was
like,
TK.
Who's the best?
It was just
okay.
a holdover mostly, and like they're like moments when like he gets angry or decides to like just do something on his own that I really like.
Like yeah, I think I'd agree with that. Like he has the most everything.
Like he's generally just kind of boring and dull like most of them, but he has these moments where he like busts out.
Mm-hmm.
I wish it happened
people
more often.
in the fucking face.
Yeah, he gets whipped in the face and then punches Ken. It's really good. Another detail that I really like. So there's a dumb thing with after Black War Greymon sacrifices himself to seal Heightened View Terrace up, which ends up being completely pointless, like that character in general. Mm-hmm. When Oikawa then opens the gate that takes them to the weird dimension, that's actually a direct callback to the thing he does on his computer to open it up shows the same like spell that Myotismon used to open the gate to Heightened View Terrace in Adventure, where you have this row of this 3x3 of cards, and in Adventure there was one duplicate card when they figured out, where either in the upper left you had Agumon's card and you had Gomamon's card, and Tai figures it out because he keeps Agumon's card because Agumon's his friend, and that takes him to the real world. But when Oikawa uses the spell, he uses the Agumon card, which theoretically in the original show was said to take you to another dimension. So that's actually, it's not, in the dub they try to explain it with Black War Greymon sealing the gate bounced them to a different world, but that's a dubism. Like, really, Myotismon purposefully manipulated Oikawa into telling him the spell wrong to take him to that world on purpose.
Gotcha.
Where
That's cool.
He could use kids' dreams to his advantage. Mm-hmm. I also like some of those things, and some of those things will come back in Tamers. Just of like the thing of part of the digital world is it's a manifestation of data into real living creatures, but it's also there's this part of it that's making children's dreams into reality, and that the way that idea is in there as like this pocket dimension where that comes from is interesting. There's also the when they introduce the Eastern Dragon after Black War Greymon destroys all the Destiny Stones, the Zulongmon dragon dude.
Sure. Yeah.
Who's of like one of the 4 sacred beasts of like the phoenix, the turtle, the tiger, and the dragon, which is a famous thing. So
Yeah.
theoretically, there are 3 others of those. That idea comes back in Tamers. So all those, you get to see all 4 of them in Tamers.
Okay.
They do that.
That's
They do
cool.
that idea correctly. They build more on that. What else? What else am I forgetting? Probably some other stuff. Yeah, and it's just like weird. It's actually one of the weird things about Tamers is like when Myotismon shows up at the end, it's disappointing. He was like the best villain in Adventure, but in Adventure 2 he's just not. He's just not a great villain there for whatever reason. Like Ken was a more interesting villain, even though in Adventure 2, Ken was a more interesting villain, even though generally Adventure 2 fucks up its ideas, but they're good ideas there. It has like more complex things, like Oikawa as a villain who's just like, I just want to go to the digital world.
Yeah, I wish I wish there would have been more interaction between the group and Ken, like in the real world before he turned good, because like that's an interesting dynamic. Like,
Yeah, there's just
you can't
really just that soccer game.
you can't just beat the shit out of him and then say, well, he's enslaving creatures. Okay, well, where? In the computer. Like, you can't just do that, but at the same time, like, you're not going to be buddy. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's more of that would have been interesting. But nah.
Yeah, the thing, Ken, he just, as soon as he stops being evil, he becomes incredibly boring. Really.
Yeah.
Just, which is a lot of kids shows have that problem with a lot of fiction in general, just with redeeming villains into heroes, where they just lose all their personality once they become good. It's hard to retain what was interesting about them when they were villains.
Do you know what
And then
show
make them
doesn't
good
fuck
guys.
that up and is also getting a first ever Blu-ray box set release this May?
Is it Avatar: The Last Airbender?
It's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
See, that was one of my things. Like, Avatar, again, when I saw it, reminded me of Digimon in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah,
Just,
like seeing that.
well made and like
Yeah.
intentionally made that way. Whereas the way like Digimon sometimes got there by a combination of the original material and what the dub was doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Avatar is great.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
it's the end of my
Yeah,
stuff I got to run down.
I think I'm good. I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's also just the one last thing. There's also the Daemon Core, which are like the demon type Digimon that show up in the later arcs. Mm-hmm. With like that's another idea that came from Kanaka, who wrote the Dark Ocean episode, which was a Cthulhu type, which is a straight adaptation of a Cthulhu story with Kari trying to be taken as this Digimon dudes. And in like the original, it's more explicit. He wants to take her as his bride. Mm-hmm. So he came up with both those ideas, but they end up just like getting canceled each other out at the end of the series. They don't like do anything with them. They're just like, let's throw this dude into the Dark Ocean, and then we're good. Evil is dealt with. But that's like the extent to which like pure, like, it's so weird because there's like is still like clearly a hierarchy of evil in the digital world, but they just never deal with it. And by the end of the series, they're like, everything's fine and perfect. What Dark Ocean?
Yeah, no, it's just like it's fine.
It's like,
what's his name gave up he turned into energy and everything's cool now. But then at the very end, they're like, darkness will always fight the light. See ya.
Yeah.
Peace.
There's also weird stuff with like the thing with the original kids losing their crests is done off screen, and we get this weird explanation of it like halfway through the series.
Yeah.
And I'd always, when I saw that, I thought, is that what Digimon the movie explains? Nope.
No.
Digimon the movie is a whole different problem. So that's weird. Like that, how haphazard. Like that's like clearly the sign of like the writers go, oh right, because part of the thing is Adventure 2 like started production before Adventure was finished.
Yeah.
They started writing it before, like, so it just had to. It couldn't be connected to stuff in certain ways. There's also weird things of like at the beginning of O2, the new kids have like never heard of Digimon or only haphazardly, but then halfway through they're like, oh yeah, everybody's heard of Digimon. Remember when the sky was torn open, or when Omnimon fought Diaboromon on the internet?
Yeah. Yep.
Because
I saw that on the internet.
yeah, because I get, and Yoli, you actually can see Yoli in the movie where the Omnimite happens. She's one of the kids they show in the scenes. Is clearly a girl who's Yoli. So that's weird that they like halfway through the series remembered that this happened, where you can't actually keep Digimon fully secret. But they wanted to for their setup. So that's another thing in Tamers. Like there are from the start there are government and adults who are aware of Digimon.
Yeah. Which
Like even before the kids are.
that'll probably be the thing I like the least about it. I'm
There's a weird yeah.
uh,
You have a thing with
no,
adults in these stories?
no, I have a thing with like that sort of antagonist, I guess. Like I've seen Shape of Water. I've seen Blue People Avatar. I've seen Pocahontas.
Those are bad movies.
I've seen
Bad
Dances
movies.
with Wolves. I get it. There is always a government or military or official asshole who wants to do something bad to something that's natural. And I dislike that trope very much.
In this, it's more someone who wants to be mad, but it's also something that's unnatural. So
But
it's
you
just
know
more
what
complicated.
You know what I mean.
It's just it's more complicated. It's not quite that. It might seem like that at first, but I would say it's not that.
So it's not asshole adult that the kids have to show the error of his ways.
It's kind of that for the first arc,
Okay.
I'll say, but it's not like the whole series or anything.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
That's also a weird thing of like in a regional adventure and even in Tamers, like the adults are like matter, like the parents of the kids are like characters, at least like they're part of these kids' lives, and they're just parents just aren't in O2. They just don't exist, which is it's a more like normal setup for a kid show. But one of the more interesting aspects of, I think, of Digimon is the way they've work in parents, just because, you know, if you're a kid, like your parents are an important part of your life. Like that's a part of it.
I mean, there
So
was the episode where Yoli's family made fun of her for being a bit of a hoe. Is he your boyfriend? No, it's not like that. Well, Yoli, you know, maybe if you didn't want to, like,
I don't want to
date
kiss
every
him.
guy-
I just want to marry him.
yeah,
The
like,
line
maybe-
she says.
Maybe if you didn't want, in some form, every guy you see. No.
Also, her great dream is that she didn't have any siblings and she got to eat all the snacks. That's her greatest wish.
I mean, you know, it's not a bad dream. Like, I'm one of three. There's not always enough pie to go around.
Oh man, greatest dream though.
I mean, I suppose like it's going to be an extension of that in which I just want all of the snacks without side effects, like all of them worldwide, not globally.
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fair.
I want to shovel instant ramen, cookies, pie, cakes, crackers,
Yeah,
anything. I just want to eat it all constantly and never suffer for it.
the other thing I hate about the ending is just that like it so quickly goes from, it doesn't matter if you don't have a Digimon partner, to, and now everyone has a Digimon partner.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Except for the loser kids who are going to star in their own series about them not having a partner Digimon, and then they eventually find one.
Those are side characters.
They could be a main character.
I'm just saying those are side characters in Tamers. The kids that tag along but don't have partners.
Oh, we have to deal
Those
with
characters
losers?
exist.
Ugh.
They're okay.
I mean, yeah, they're not.
They are losers.
They're B-list. They're B-list.
Yes. Kazu and Kenta and Tamers. But yeah, I think that's it for Digimon 02. I think I'm done.
I'm certainly done.
It's not. I don't recommend it.
No.
You have to be a very strong fan of Digimon Adventure, really, to get anything out of 02.
Or to be part of a
that's just
podcast in which
nostalgia.
one of the members holds the other at gunpoint and makes them watch Digimon.
I mean, that's not what I did.
If, you know,
I said we needed
We
to
all
go
have
through all 3 seasons if we're going to get to Tamers, because I think there's important. You have to understand where the series was coming from to fully appreciate what Tamers does. There are seeds that are sowed here.
we can remember it different ways.
Okay. The other thing I'll say about these first 2 seasons as compared to Tamers is these first 2 series are more fantasy based. Like, there's obviously sci-fi because it's digital stuff, but they're more just like magic your way through stuff, whereas Tamers veers more towards science fiction so that there's like a direct explanation for everything. I will say.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a podcast. You can email us at saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on soundcloud.com/saltcircle. Find us on Twitter at saltcirclepod. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, various podcast feeds that pull from there at Salt Circle Podcast. And you can find me on Twitter at Comic Panels.
And I'm on Twitter at bean_LP. Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon Garlic Champions. Don't tell me you never heard it. Don't tell me you actually heard Digimon are the champions on your first listen.
Digimon are the champions. First listen.
Okay, you're lying. I don't believe you. It had to be Guardian or Garlic.
Nope.
Something.
Are the first time. Look, when life gives you lemons, make lemon pie.